Sippers, welcome to this Wednesday episode of the Tea With Me podcast with me, the Money Toad, aka Shaney Boy, Cute, aka, and the first time I don't think I said aka, I think I just said AAA, and that's all good. That's really all good. I've got a guest this week. Before I bring him in and start the podcast, let me plug the Patreon, which is patreon.com/Tea With Me podcast, where you get the bonus episode of this podcast every week with me and producer Dan. There's exclusive merchandise, tickets. What else is there? Oh, my whole stand-up special, The Todd Father, shot last year at the Waterfront. That is on there for all the free Patreons. I also need to plug Manscaped, which is our sponsor, manscaped.com. I'll tell you a little bit about that halfway through the podcast, but essentially, if you want your balls to look absolutely sexy, get over to manscaped.com, use the promo code TWITHME, and get 20% off and free shipping. Without further ado, speaking of testicle, what would you say, like testicle hairstyles? I don't know what that means, but I mean, I'm essentially trying to figure out a way to bring on my guest, Marc McCarney, and then I thought it was maybe disrespectful to talk about, shaving pubes before I bring him on. But either way, here he is. This should work. Hang on. Hold on now. He's coming out of the waiting room. Oh, he's straight out of the waiting room and into the pod. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Marc McCarney. Marc, my first question that I ask all guests is, do you drink tea? How much tea do you drink? And just talk to me a little bit about your relationship with the sweet stuff.
Yeah, like addicted.
Oh, shit.
Like there's tea there I got for this podcast and it's done. No, we drink a serious amount of tea here in the McCarney household.
Now, let's talk about what constitutes a serious amount, because there's days where I think I would drink 9 or 10 cups. Now, that's not often, but I'd say it happens. Are you telling me there's a level above, or does that sound a bit...
Them's amateur levels. That's amateur numbers, that. Yeah. I'd say the kettle's always boiled here.
In a full-size cup?
No, a mug.
Smaller cup. Well, because here's what I'm saying. What you're drinking with it, like, look at this, the size of this.
Well, that's a starter. That's just to get me prepped.
An aperitif.
For the main course,
Right, yeah, you see, I actually, whenever I was getting ready to record this episode, I was like, I must ask Marc a few things, because I actually don't know a lot about Marc McCarney, not as a stand-up, if you know what I mean, like as a guy. Like, there's a lot of stuff I would presume about you. Like, I would presume, and this is based on nothing, that you're a man who really enjoys a bath. Like, I could definitely see you having like a late afternoon bath and really enjoying it, but with no bubble bath.
See, I like that people don't know a lot about me.
No,
I know a lot of people money, so I like to keep it. Yeah. I like to keep it down on the low. But if people are wondering about baths, if that's all they're worried about, we actually ripped the bath out last year, and I have to say I do miss it. I sometimes sit in bed at night thinking, I'd love a wee bath. But I am not.
See you in a bath, yeah. I could see you in a bath with like a board across it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think you're just in and out of the bath. I could see you with like
You think I'm like a geriatric bather that I need a board to get myself up?
A cup of tea and those old portable TVs, a wee colour TV with a wee kickstand behind it. Yeah. I could see you in there having the time of it for sure.
I did. Yeah. Well, I used to be secretly. The doll would have like candles. And sometimes if I was in the mood, I would like them. But as far as a board and a TV, no, just would have sat in my own stew and tuck it all in. So, good day's work,
So there's nothing more psychopathic than the idea of somebody just being in a bath. Like, you have to have something to accompany it. You got to have music on. You've got to be reading. Maybe you got to be doing something. But just that terrifies me. The idea that if I could one day stumble upon you, like one day, maybe say we're doing a tour. Say we're off on tour together in some far-flung place, like, for example, I don't know, Vienna, And imagine I'm looking for you in the hotel, and I open a door, and if I honestly, I'm just letting you know this right now, if I found you just sitting in a bath looking back at me, that would be the end of the tour.
See, I'd be worried what kind of fan base I'd have in Vienna more than why I'm in a bath and she and Todd's after walking in. You're very overthinking a lot of. Most people, I've never thought of anyone in a bath, bar myself.
Yeah, that's the number one thing I think about with you is could definitely, like, if I don't see you at a comedy
I
club,
can tell
I go,
quarantine's took its toll on you, Shane.
he'll be in a bath. Yeah, not just my hair. I don't just have fucking 90s boy band hair.
Are you trying to say I look smelly or something, that every time you see me you're like, yeah, that guy's going to go for a bath?
I'm saying the opposite. I'm saying you look like a man who would have a nice imperial lather about him.
Yeah, Imperial. It used to be the stuff, Imperial Leather.
It was the stuff until whenever you used it, and then the wee imperial leather label came off it. That was always a sad time. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
whenever you really wore it down. Like, I mean, I'll be honest, I haven't used just a traditional bar of soap. You could be talking 15 years. It's all the gels
Aye.
now. It's the gels now.
See, you're just too rich. That's what's
I
wrong. You see,
know. I
we're
know.
just we have to do with the bar soap
But I
and the
think
wire brush.
sometimes I guess that is the best way I think of stand-ups is, do I think there would be a bath or a shower person? And yeah, I'd say you're 100% a bath guy.
But I wouldn't. I don't usually. I didn't go to bath to bath. It was more
Right.
to relax.
Right.
If I needed a shower, it was a quick wash shower.
Yeah.
But usually the rain just does me if I walk out.
Yeah, like over breakfast, you just put a bit of shower gel on and just wait for the day to take care of it.
Not even. I just rub up against the Note 3 or something. Get a wee bit of that musk going.
What have you? I mean, we have we're members of a WhatsApp group that there's quite a few other stand-ups in, and I mean there is also going to be other stand-ups watching, listen to this, going, oh, for fuck's sake, but
Sweating.
though, I mean, there was very good chat in it at the start of lockdown, and everybody was like, we'll chat about gigs and have you been writing, and there was a lot of comedy chat. And now I would describe it as a desolate, barren landscape, of just guys that have really run out of things to sort of talk about. Like, there was a quiz for a while, which was good crack, and then that's kind of died off. And it's weird because when we all don't have stand up to talk about, you find out that we don't know each other at all.
Even I found even friends I grew up with, I kind of hadn't really been talking to them. Like, I took quarantine very seriously. I had to stop speaking to everybody.
Yeah, because I expected to see you out and about a lot more, and I was like, I'm expecting to see, you being busy and doing a lot of stuff, and then I think I presumed that you just went the other way. I was like, McCarney's gone to ground here. I think you have. I wouldn't be surprised if you had used the last year to really develop stand up, but then also build some sort of underground bunker. And I like that idea. I mean, I like the idea of you in a bath in the underground bunker.
Yeah. No, well, I did. I had something planned, something to shoot, like video wise, and then lockdown happened, and I couldn't do any of it. So then I was kind of like, I was kind of invested in doing it, and I was kind of like,
Yes.
Until I can do this.
Yeah.
And so everyone was like, why are you not going out? Because and then you couldn't really go out. I kind of felt like, well, if I go, because my stuff, I don't do it much at home. I'm usually away. So it's like, if I'm doing something stupid and a cop lands beside me to find me, I'll be like,
yeah. Do you not shoot around home because people know you, friends, family, whatever, and you get a bit awkward about it, or how come?
No, just whatever depends. Whatever depends. That at the start, everyone was like, "What the fuck is that guy doing?" But now they know.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, you know what I mean?" And they kind of want to be in it. Half of them.
What do you like with filming in public? And has that sort of changed because I'd say most people, like if you're into like stand up here and all that kind of thing, will 100% know your videos, which you know, I think are like the most original thing to come around for a long, long time. I think the video you did last week or the week before, the bog thing,
Uh-huh.
was 10 out of 10. Really, really enjoyed that. But with filming around kind of where you live, I've got really, I used to be way worse with that. I couldn't think about filming in like a 10-mile radius of where I lived. If anyone saw me while I was out filming, I got really embarrassed, but I've got better at that as I've went along. But do you not find that so quickly you can do weird things, have people watch it, and it just feels totally normal?
No, I'm pretty comfortable with embarrassing myself. It's quite a skill. Um, it was better though at the start, I think, because like now if you go into like sort of like the no, whereas before they didn't. So if you have got like somebody's reaction or something, it's pretty like what the fuck's going on? But whereas the no, you're taking the piss. It's not as like I don't have many people in it, but no, I don't. I don't really think about it. I just, if it's something that I want to do, I kind of figure it out and go ahead with it. Like I don't really, but it's funny. Like it wouldn't bother me much on camera, but see then when the camera's down and somebody come up to me, I'd be like, oh Jesus, what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
That kind of.
Yeah.
But
So
no, apart from that,
chat to me about, and I don't know this, about how you got into all this, because you, like myself, sort of do stand up and videos as well. And I mean, I remember hearing about you doing stand up. I remember some people like I'd maybe missed the Laveries. I'd normally be at most Laveries, and I think I missed one, and it was Colin or Mickey or someone said to me like, "There's this new guy." Like I love hearing about new people that are doing stand up and that are good. And it was like, you gotta watch this McCarney kid. He's got something. And I said, right. And then I think I'd seen your videos. It was actually a while before I saw you do stand up, and I already knew you just from comedy clubs and your videos. So how did you actually get into like video making and stand up and that kind of thing?
um, well, I always it's funny because my life was kind of like whenever I was like 17, 18, I remember going. I think it was Tommy Tiernan we went to go see, and I mean going that is incredible. And I mean getting his DVD, his first one, and just watching it over and over and over. And I was at tech at the time, and I remember just being fed up with it. I was like, I can't be bothered with this shit
What were
anymore.
you
And I
studying?
remember engineering.
Right.
Don's doing engineering like me. And I remember the girl I was going with at the time. I remember we went out for pizza. And I'm thinking, saying, they're like, I'm fed up with this shit. I think I'm going to quit it all and become a stand-up. And she was like, I think it's the most laugh I've ever got to date. Like there was a hearty fucking laugh. Like, but you have to think like this was a time too. This was like looking back, it was a mental thing to say because you hadn't started at that time, or there was no. The only scene here at that time was Paddy Guilty and
Right.
Jake O'Kane. So the
Yep.
notion of the likes of me walking up to the Empire was didn't exist. So after a while, I kind of was like, yeah, it does sound sort of stupid. So I kind of just put it to one side and just went on with life and still went to gigs and loved it and was doing videos just for the crack in the weekends and stuff. And then I had a midlife crisis about 26 and I just said, fuck this and quit everything and just said, I'm just going to try this now and go for it and see what happens. So like I had no, like, I had no credibility. I had never done Laveries. I'd never done anything. The PAV was the only one I'd done. And I just quit my whole job and just went for it. And I have to say, I quit in April and I'd done the first parish unknown in June. And it just went on from then. It just trickled on. You know?
I think one of the best things you can do is have the balls to take your own safety net away, because if you always have something to fall back on, you're never really gonna succeed because you don't have to succeed. And when I say succeed, I mean just be in a position where you're getting paid to do things and you're enjoying it. But it's the time where you make that decision and go like, fuck it, this is it. You do yourself such a big favor in that moment, because the it's so terrifying to just be like, I'm going to go and do this thing that chances are you don't know anybody at that stage who's really doing it. And what is being a full-time stand-up? It's not like, engineering, for example. You live in County Tyrone, you're never 5 foot from an engineer. Like, you can always speak to an engineer, whereas how can you go and speak to a stand-up for advice on career path?
Yeah, because like growing up, stand-ups to me was, Tommy Tiernan or Billy Connolly, and you're just like, oh, well, them guys were obviously just born stand-ups, and they just went out of school and got on the stage. It is a funny because there's no set career path in stand-up.
No,
which is
and it changes.
Great. Yeah, and what I've come to learn is that you kind of make it yourself in a way. You have to go. But I remember one thing you said to me. I think it was in the first charity gig we done in Limelight, and it was all of us, and I mean Sean Haggerty came over to me, and it was like the first time I had met Sean. He was asked about me, and I said, or he asked me, this is it, I've kind of given myself 6 months to see how I get on. And I remember you were just sitting in the corner, and you just nibbed in. It was like, there is no plan B.
Yeah.
So I always kept that. I was like,
no, that's not what I meant.
Nugget of Todd.
That's not what I meant.
Oh, you meant the rapper?
He was supposed to be on the lineup that
night. I took it completely the wrong way then.
No, he was supposed to be in between Mickey and Connor Keys. Come on. She said, I love you, boy, I love you so.
I'm kind of glad now, because I would have been completely devastated then if I knew that. But
true story, I was backstage at a gig in Queen's Uni when Queen's Comedy Club was on, and that's one that I'm sad for you that you never got to play, and so many people that are relatively new to stand-up never got to play, because there was a period for a while, like not towards the end, but there was a period for a while when it was the best gig here anyway. But Plan B had played the night before in Mandela Hall, and he left. This was when he was bringing out that album, The Defamation of Strickland Bank. So he was well known, but he wasn't like, that was an album everybody had. So he was wearing the suit on stage, and it was the time of the ash cloud. So there was some problem where they couldn't bring all his costumes back to England. So they left a suitcase of his clothes, and it was backstage at Mandela Hall when we were doing Queen's Comedy Club. And someone stupidly told us, they were like, that's Plan B's like stage costume. And before they finished the sentence, I was fully dressed as Plan B just backstage. And I went out and did my set, dressed up in Plan B's 3-piece suit, and just didn't address it at any point.
Said nothing.
And I stole one of his ties. It was I wish I'd kept it. It was a reversible Fenchurch tie.
Was it not hanging off you?
No, at this stage he dropped the weight.
Did you see him recently?
As he put it back on.
Funny, whatever notion I took a while ago was like, whatever happened to Plan B?
That's such lockdown thoughts.
And this is true, actually. It must be a fortnight ago, and I googled, and he's like, he puts Tipex on his face now.
Sippers, let me really quickly interrupt the podcast. We have a sponsor, which is Manscaped and the Lawnmower 3.0. It is essentially a product that allows your balls to look absolutely fabulous. And we all want that. The Lawnmower 3.0 is a razor that, and listen, we've all been there. We've all gone through trials and tribulations with cutting hair down there. I remember the first time I did it. I thought I would do the David Beckham mohawk. It didn't work out. It didn't look good because I didn't have Manscaped. We're offering listeners the chance to get 20% off and free shipping. What? You heard me right. Manscaped.com. Use the code TWITHME, all one word, get 20% off. Essentially the best ball trimmer you're ever going to have. This is going to change the game. It's going to change your balls. You're going to be very proud of your balls, because we have this thing here living in Northern Ireland where, no guys are just being like, because people, like, guys will brag about like, oh, my dick and all. What guys are coming out and being like, my balls are in great shape? None. Not until now. listen to me when I say this. You can take it in the shower. Also, do you want a torch on it? Because there's an LED light so you can see what you're doing. I have used this product, me and producer Dan. Okay, I'm going to leave that at that. But producer Dan and I have used this product, and trust me, I know he has, because he sent me a video and I said, I don't want to receive this sort of content from you. But the Lawnmower 3.0 from Manscaped, it's got the skin safe technology as well, so you know you're not gonna like cut yourself, which is ideal because that's one of the worst things that can happen. And girls, you can sort your guys out with this. If you're a guy that just wants your balls to look even better, get involved. Manscaped.com, use the code TWithMe. Back to the pod.
He's like, he paints his chin white.
Why?
Whatever.
Just he's bored in lockdown?
Hides the semen, I don't know. But he just kind of, I don't know what it is. But I haven't seen him in
look this
ages.
Up. If I looked at his Instagram, would I see this?
Not Instagram, but just Google Plan B.
Plan B Tipex face?
White face, which sounds...
Plan B... I'll tell you what I'll do. Plan B 2020. And what this episode's definitely going to be called is No Plan B, because it makes sense on a lot of levels.
Do you remember he was even acting? He was acting and like... Mad?
What the fuck's he doing? To be honest, he looks like me if I started doing coke. Oh wow, I don't know what he's doing. Shout out to Plan B, man. You fucking lost a run on yourself. Come back and just start doing. Here's the thing, Plan B was always like this grime rapper, and he is a very good rapper. And then he brings out this soul album where he's singing like high pitched, and it's fucking brilliant. The whole album is amazing, and everyone's like, "Are you just going to do another album like this?" And he's like, "Nah, I'm going back to the rapping." And everyone's like, "But you're killing it right now." He's like, "Nah, going back to the rapping." That you can sort of understand in comedy terms, where like, you know, if you hit on something that's going well, people can never understand why you would stop doing it. But then doing performing of some sort, I totally understand why he'd be like, nah, I just it's not me, really. You know, I'm just not enjoying it. Like, I've definitely dropped characters before. Now, don't get me wrong, I wasn't the level of success of Plan B, but so I heard a phrase recently. A comedian was talking about a character, and he said that he had got advice. I can't remember who from, a friend, but the advice was something like, don't quit the hit. You know, the advice was like, if something's working for you, don't stop doing it. But I think absolutely, if you aren't enjoying doing something, definitely stop doing it and do something else.
Yeah, but then you can definitely play it out too, to the point where people is like, I'm just sick of this now.
Yeah, well, I made the mistake, like with the Mike McGoldrick character, I did that and then thought I'd kind of had enough of it, and then stupidly in loads of interviews said I'm not doing it anymore, because they were asking, like, say I was promoting a tour, they were like, any more of those videos, and I was like, nah, killing the character off, it's done. And then about a week later I was like, you should probably do more of that. So I just...
But at least, you know, you've like different characters. Like, there's some guys I see online and they just do the same character for years and years and years, and they're bound to get sick of it as well.
It's like material, you know. It's like we all have bits of material that, you know, are guaranteed hits. You know that bit is going to get a laugh, but how long do you want to keep doing it for? Because I get really paranoid that the audience will see that I'm bored of that bit of material.
Yeah,
I
think it. Well, sometimes I think as a comedian, you kind of overthink a lot, that what the audience half the time don't even notice things like that. Really, like,
or they. I mean, I know guys that are even more paranoid than me about that, and go, if I come back to the same venue within a year or 2 years, I don't want to be doing any of the same jokes. There's loads of times where I have heard a joke from a comedian before, and then I hear them start to do the bit again, and I'm excited. I'm like, I love this bit. You know, this is a great bit of stand-up. So yeah, I think you can definitely like overthink
like,
it.
if you're doing the same bit for 10 years, maybe
you're dead behind the eyes.
Maybe you need to look at it, but it depends. Like, it's kind of like the greatest hit sometimes. going and doing the exact same set everywhere. But
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah.
people like to hear an odd bit or whatever. But
It depends where you are
it's,
and what you're doing. Like if you get asked to do a gig for some late night American TV show, you're not going to be like, well, I have a couple of new bits kicking around here. Let's see how these go. No, you're going to do the tried and tested stuff. But if you're regularly performing, as we do and so many comedians do in comedy clubs, yeah, you have to be doing new stuff because otherwise, what are you doing?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
What are you
It's
doing?
it's a funny beast. Like it's stand up something. I think that's why I like it. You'll never get your head wrapped around it.
You never get your head wrapped around it. And what I love about it is you're not really guaranteed anything. And what I mean by
No,
that is I could do Laveries and 90% of the people there could have some previous knowledge of you, whether they've seen you at a gig or they've seen a video before. Might mean something for the first 30 seconds of the set. They might give you like a bit of a ball and like, oh no, well, he'll get us with the next one. But 30 seconds in, you're judged the same as someone who's doing stand up for the first time. That's what I like about stand up. You
yeah,
know, the brutal honesty from, because sometimes as well I enjoy a really bad gig as much as a good one because you can take something away from it and go, you know what, I didn't have the foot on the gas there or whatever. But I I didn't think I would miss stand up this much. I was thinking there's positive and there is positives in taking a break from it. But now it's at the point where like, no, I need to get back to it because it really is. It really, like when you do stand up, it's part of your personality. It's part of you as a person, and that sounds like if a musician said that, I'd be like, "Fuck, you're a wanker." But
uh,
I understand myself. I'm like, no, I just need to get up and do 5 minutes anywhere. I don't need it to go good. I just have some new material and need to try it out. So what's your plan? Because some comedians I speak to say they want to wait until it's a bit more normal. And some people like me are just like, oh, I'd do a gig at the bottom of my driveway to 3 people if I could.
um, yeah. Like it's got the stage where I just and you kind of forget too that a lot of the crack too is just meeting up with you guys
Yeah, yeah. That's
and
that's
and
that's the
just
best bit.
and so like even though you enjoy getting up on stage and doing your bit, like a lot of it is just the fun of hanging out. And so I can't wait to get back to normality, but equally I can't wait to get to do just anything at all
Yeah,
to get
yeah.
things back to normality. And it's weird too because you have to consider now, like gigs that we've booked before lockdown, you kind of have to wait till you feel other people are going to be comfortable in an
Yeah, yeah,
audience.
yeah, yeah.
Not
100%.
because you're actually all right. You're usually meters away from them.
Yeah.
But it's yeah, just normality. It'd just be nice to get back into where you don't have to wonder. Like because you go into the shop now and you're kind of sitting, you're worried that you're going to bump into someone and get the head stuck onto off you. But
See for the first year or two when stand up comes back, I'm just going to be a hologram, but no one's going to know about it. It's cost me so much money, but like I'm never going to be there. I'm always in living
overly
room
loud
doing it.
generator in the back to keep you going. Yeah, like it's even like weird. Like I remember that the dog got a cut in its eye in the first couple of weeks of lockdown. And I went into the vet, and she wasn't wearing a mask or anything, but she was all very standoffish. And I was like, "What a fucking weird vet! What is her problem?" And she told me to go out to the QR. She's like, "Such an arrogant cunt of a vet! I'm taking my business elsewhere."
Right.
And I just like, "Fuck, it's lockdown! I forgot all about it. What
Yeah.
happened?" But it's a strange, but it's not too bad. We're lucky enough in the countryside.
I'm the
It's like
same.
it's not too bad. But like if you're in a city or a town, it's bound to be torture.
See, when even driving through Belfast a couple of times for work, and you see the queues outside the likes of a spa or whatever, because people live on top of each other and they can, you know, it makes you take, you don't take for granted. I live sort of in the countryside as well, not as far as you, but in the countryside, and it's great because
Yeah.
2 minutes away you're in a forest, you can go for a walk, you can do whatever. But you like me had to cancel a tour, but this is going to be your first like solo stand-up tour.
Mhm.
Do you feel, so you basically, like, people like myself and Mickey and a couple others, we were doing stand-up before we did videos because there was no like no YouTube really when we started doing stand up, and there was no, we didn't even really know you could do that. You know what I mean? It's like you talk about going to see Tommy Tiernan, and you're like, that'd be class, but we don't get to do that. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's like I went to the Empire too, and I watched, and I was like, oh, if only you could do that. And then I saw Paddy McGackie do it whenever I was like 16. I saw this guy from Ballymena on stage, and I was like, he looks like me. Maybe I could do it. But do you feel that because you kind of you know, we loads of us were doing stand up for years before we, you know, thought about like a tour or whatever, and you know, you've been able to combine taking the stand up really naturally and the videos just like almost exploding from the start. Do you feel like a wee bit more pressure, like because it's your first one, and because it's happening quick, or do you feel that, you know, you've been able just to do a lot of gigs? Because that's a great thing about stand up nowadays, is
No,
there's so many gigs.
it is. Like, I do know, like, there's been comedians who've been going for years before they even thought of doing a tour. But to me, like, I've seen before, like, you know, you could do a gig, and you could have a half-hour set, and you could do it on the Thursday night and kill, and you could do it on the Friday night and day.
Yep.
So it's kind of like, what odds, how many years, if you have your hour set or whatever, and like, I'm not as, like, you guys have been at it for years, whereas I haven't. So I feel like I've time to make up for it here. And it's kind of, to me, the stand-up's like, it's a sport. The more you keep at it, and the more you keep at it, so if I have an hour to do, that's the worst thing about me. If I have the pressure on, I'll do it.
Yeah,
Whereas if
yeah.
I went, I'm not going for a tour for 10 years, it'd be 20 years
Yes,
by the time
100%.
I get around it.
That's like we're talking about with the plan B taken away, being like, I booked a tour, you've got to go, and you've got to go do it. You know, and
Yeah.
one thing that pisses me off is hearing comedians that have been doing it for a while, people longer than me and not as long as me, talking about this idea of like, you know, oh no, you have to be at it 6 years before this and that, and that is like the worst thing people say. It's like
Yeah.
there is no magic formula to this is when you should go and do an hour, this is when you should do a tour. When you say to
Yeah.
yourself like, okay, I feel like this is going to be a good show, that's when
Well,
you go and do it.
a tour is you doing your hour just in different places.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's not really, you know, I don't. There is a lot of not. Well, there is a lot of pressure, and I'm not to make sure that people have a good time and a good show. But equally, I feel I can do it,
Yeah.
and I feel that, you know, if I have something to work towards, I always seem to kind of pull it out of the bag some way. So it was more. It was more like there's like lockdown. You know, you'd think we'd have had months off here, that we should have 4 hours of material, and you don't. But whereas if you've something to work towards, I find for me, I'll always have something kind of. But no, I'm looking forward to it because because like, as I say, I left the job. And this is what I want to do. So
If you can't enjoy this, like, yeah, exactly.
yeah,
And you know, the best thing about doing a tour is being in different places and people coming to your show to see you. And it's not a
yeah,
pressure thing. It's a thing to enjoy, that like these people are already wanting to have a good time. It's even better than, in a way, comedy clubs, because people go to comedy clubs, they're dragged along, or they're like, oh, we'll see what it's like, or they're maybe there to see someone else. But on a tour, they're there to see you,
yeah.
and you can look at that like, oh my god, this is you know, their night depends on me, but they're already wanting you to have a good time. That's whenever you walk out doing a tour date, you can feel like, oh, these are just like this, like a big room of friends.
Yeah.
You
Like,
know?
I would rather, like, I'd rather do it that way. Like, I love, don't get me wrong, I love, you know, going to like laveries and stuff. But the fact of having your own wee thing with your own group of people that come to see you, and it's kind of like, I remember when I first started thinking, uh, like, I was going to die in my ass in Belfast, because they're either not going to understand what I'm saying, or
Yes.
they're just not going to get the references. But I've always fucking enjoyed Belfast. And then the tour, when they were booking me, they were putting me down for London and Liverpool and Glasgow, and I was like, this is such a far cry from me thinking that I'm never going to gig much in Belfast, never mind London.
But it's a thing of like, you're right. There's times I've seen you do stand up, and probably vice versa, and with every other comedian, I don't get every reference. I'm not going to get every reference that you're going to mention, but that's not going to stop me finding it funny. I might mishear a word, but it's like I watch The Wire is one of my favorite TV shows ever. There's loads of words that I totally miss, and I'm like, what the fuck that person say? But it doesn't take away from my enjoyment of it. The funny feeling is just it doesn't matter really I mean, it's different. Like, you can't obviously go to New York and do a show that only relies on Northern Irish references, because people just aren't going to get it. But if it's the odd reference,
I might try that.
You fuckers,
like, what do you think of Limavady, eh?
This guy's fucking crazy. You see, whenever I was in the States at the end of at the end of last year, you're the first person people ask me about. The first person, like, in, like, you know, because you're meeting people in New York that are from here that love comedy. Yeah. So they see everything. They keep across it all, and they're like, what about the boy McCarney? What about the boy McCarney? And I mean, it'd be a good opportunity for me to spread a lot of rumors just for no reason, because they're like, what about that fella McCarney? And I go, McGabry. You know, it'd be a good opportunity for me to, or he loves a bath, and we'll leave it at that.
Believable. Yeah. He loves a bath, McGabry. We all know what that means.
The only guy to bring his own smuggle his own bath into McGabry.
He had a loofah up his hole.
What about fellas that do smuggle stuff into prison? Do you think genuinely that they practice it? Because, you know, you never hear of a fella who just smuggled in a joint. It's always a guy who took in 6 iPhones and
a drone. I practice it. Yeah. What would you practice with? Gel life, and then try and get it in.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think
a stick of butter.
You have to work your way up, because there's no way a fella goes, fucking, we'll see if this. Oh, actually, that fits. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way.
42-inch widescreen TV. Jesus. I didn't think I had it in me. Will the remote go in? I don't know. I'd love to do a gig in McGabry.
I thought you were about to say I'd love to fucking give it a go.
Oh, no, I've done that. I'm going to do a gig in McGabry with a pile of contraband up your ass.
You're the only guy just doing it for the experience. Just taking in 3 mobiles and coming out with them.
3 3210s.
I have 3 Samsung flip phones up my hole. Who are those for? No one.
Oh, fuck, the flash went off. It's in behind the MacBook. Just put your finger in. It's amazing what people can do. You'd never think. Who was the first person thought, I'm going to shove this up my prison wallet?
I mean, I think that the first guy that did that was probably doing it for his own enjoyment, and then it fell out and he pretended it was for someone in jail. He's like, this is for you, and they're like, what would I want with a fucking bottle of HP sauce, you know? But it's a good time. Shout out to anyone who does that as a job. I mean, the worst thing is whenever people go on flights and then they take, like, you know, bags of heroin, and then they break open in their stomach and then they die. You know, I've heard that happen maybe once.
Big tail there. I don't, just a real mule.
Yeah. I mean, you probably, like, what would you pay, do you reckon, to get a mobile in the jail? Like, do you reckon locally it's like 20 quid, or do you think it's like 500?
Payphone?
What?
I'll probably just use the payphone that's there. I mean, I don't think much of my ass, but I don't think it's just go, here, lass, there's a payphone over there.
No.
You didn't have to smuggle a landline up your ass to call your mama.
Battery's dead. I'll be back next week with a charger.
I know a fella, and it's funny because he was always so quiet, but he's been in jail now for years. But he seems to love it.
What the?
He goes back. Because every time they let him out, he goes and does something stupid to put him back in. So he obviously must like it.
What do you think he did? What did he do the first time? Do you know?
I can't remember. I mean, I think he attempted to stab somebody once. But again, it was an attempt just to get back in.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He just loves it.
I can't remember. He just loves it.
Well, I mean, think about it like this: you get your bed sorted out, you get a TV, I think, in your room, you get your meals made for you, and you get to fucking pump a bit of iron. Like,
yeah, I'd say they'll probably have Xbox, Sky Sports,
100%. Men and Motors,
Carvery.
yeah.
What do you want? It does sound idealistic.
I mean, it's hard to know, like, because you obviously watch like films about prison, and it's all American prisons and all that maximum security and all that. But I reckon it's a wee bit more relaxed here. Like even our top jails, I reckon like you can fucking, I reckon if you promise you'll be back within the hour, you can take off. But you have to swear in your ma's life.
I swear, Tony, I'm just going down for a BPM.
Some fella crosses the border. They're like, "You swore in your mum's life?" He's like, I said I swore in my mum's life. There
is prisons though where
open prison.
You can go out. Which open prison doesn't make sense.
No, it defeats the purpose a wee bit, doesn't it? And they're apparently classed. That's where they send like millionaires and who are in jail for like tax fraud. You get to play tennis and stuff.
Well, I know what all murdered about. This is true. Well, I didn't know her well, but I know of her. And they said you're sentenced to life for murder, but you can go down to the shopping centre during the day. Which, she's in Mayo or somewhere. Doesn't
take the rough with the smooth.
Saturday, Sunday, and bank holidays, they're yours. But so, you have to be in.
Who did she murder?
Which actually, in fairness, she got another boy to murder her husband.
Smart.
So I suppose technically she didn't do it. She repainted the house after it, I think. That's what she really done. I'm right enough.
What's the social etiquette?
Go ahead.
I was going to say, what is the social etiquette on? Say you like meet a new friend or whatever, or we're doing stand-up with some guy and he's fucking really nice and good at stand-up and lovely fella, and then he turns around to you and he's like, lads, let me put all my cards on the table here. I did murder someone, but I've served my time and I'm rehabilitated. Do you give someone like that a second chance, or do you judge him like?
I think I'd like to know the details of why you murdered him. If you're in defense of your family,
what if he's like, oh, he said he said my dad was disabled. You could understand. But if he's like, oh, this fella just, looked at me. This fella asked me what time it was, and I took a nice pic to his loaf. You would at that point probably go, no, we can't be friends.
Then if he's going to do that over the time, he'll probably cut your fucking head off for saying that.
Yeah. Would he keep making references to it as banter as it went on? Like people be
You'd probably be friends, but a bit fucking calm because they'll kill you.
I reckon he'd make shit banter about it as well, but you would have to laugh because he's a murderer. He'd come off stage and you'd be like, man, you did well tonight, you killed it. And he'd go, wouldn't be the first time, and you would always laugh at that even though you didn't enjoy it.
Yeah, at the stage where it just goes on that long, next thing he's your best man at your wedding and stuff. It goes on that. Still haven't got rid of him. Yeah, I
Oh.
don't know when you drop that bomb. Usually, I suppose was best.
Well, you said
You
you
said
said you said you wanted this start. We started talking about this because you said you wanted to do a gig in McGalbury. Why?
I just think it'd be funny. Like of all crowds, they would just be like, "That's not funny," and so I think actually, you know what it is? I've watched too much Johnny Cash,
San Quentin.
San Quentin. It
Yeah,
does.
yeah. Like I mean, he definitely sings a song that very much plays to the crowd, and he starts slagging off all the wardens and the staff and stuff like that. I reckon if you did a gig in McGalbury though, I think there'd be a slightly rowdy crowd. Let me just say that, and I think they would start heckling you, and what they were saying wouldn't be that funny. But if you like, they'd all be laughing, all they'd be like, "You're shite, no," and you'd hit back, and you go, "I know, but at least I'm going home tonight." I reckon they would then turn and go, "We're gonna fucking make you stay here," you know?
I actually think they'd be quite polite because they'd be like, "This guy, no one ever comes to see us. I mean, us, a bunch of murderers and rapists. Why would they not come see us?"
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I like the idea of that, but it would be a pretty class video for the gram. Like that'd be a fun video to make. Um, but I don't know. I think I would get.
They wouldn't let you. I wouldn't say they'd let you.
Here's the thing. See, whenever I'm like a wee bit nervous, I slobber at people. Like I really, my default setting is to like I like to be deprecating, and if I think like I love like what I think I love about playing football is like changing rooms is football training because everybody just basically slags each other off, and if you show up with a sounds stupid, but like you show up with a new haircut, you'll get abused for it or whatever. I love that environment. So like that's my environment with like mates whenever you can like tear each other out and it's good crack. But I would worry that I would go in there and I would just think they were mates. I would get carried away and really just go in hard on some fella. And then, he would go in hard on me and take an ice pick to my head.
We're talking about smuggling things up the ass again, or what?
I brought you that ice pick you asked for. I have a sore tummy.
Maybe we'll try it.
No,
we'll give it a go.
You give it a go and see what it's like, and then let me know. But
I'll give it a go.
I don't know.
I'll talk to Joe and we'll see if we can get it booked.
I mean, Joe's the sort of guy, nothing's off the table, nothing's a bad idea. If you rang Joe and you were like, "Listen, Joe, Chernobyl, is there a comedy club there?" He'd be like, "No."
Radiation can't tackle you.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely, like, if you were doing a gig in Chernobyl, there's material there. Like, definitely there's easy material to sort of play off. Whenever you get there, you show up in the mask and all, and you do all that kind of stuff. You say, "You guys have been wearing these for years. You guys are the originators of the masks," and I know it'd be a good time. The Chernobyl, me and you heading over to the Chernobyl Fringe.
Yeah.
If you need anything for your backstage rider, yes, a bath from McCarney.
Yeah. If Bruce Willis can go to Chernobyl, why can't we?
What was he doing
there? Die Hard 5.
Did he actually? Is that a lie?
No, you ever see it? Jet lag, but it's...
Hold on. I don't know whether you're taking advantage of the fact that I don't really watch action films. Did they really film Die Hard 5 there, or are you making this up?
It was based in Chernobyl, but I don't know if they filmed there.
Right, because this is a bit like whenever I was in Strabane once doing Rory would just have a comedy club there. And a guy...
What are you going to say? Strabane's like Chernobyl? Bruce Willis was in Chernobyl, but he wasn't in Strabane.
Die Hard 6 in Strabane. No, I was doing a gig in Strabane and I was talking about, the army have that wee robot that blows up bombs.
Mm-hmm.
Someone told me he was called Joey 90, and I went, "Is he?" Yeah, and then moved on and discussed that, and then after the gig, guys like me, I don't think it's actually called that. I thought it was called Joey 90, but I still don't know if it is, and I still don't know if Bruce Willis has
There's
been in
a
Chernobyl, but be worth
there's a
asking.
takeaway in Irvinstown called Joe 90s. The food's explosive.
Is it good?
I've eaten it once. They actually named the burger after me.
I was going to ask, is that the place and the burger that's named after you, is it still on the menu? And do you feel pressure to go there and get it quite a lot?
No, the place that originally done it, Joe 90s, stole it. This is true. I never trucking in the done the McCarney burger. I don't think it's still for sale.
Right.
But about 2 weeks later, Joe 90s put up on their Facebook they were doing the same burger. I think it was a pound dearer.
Was it also called the
But
McCarney
nobody-
burger?
The Mucky McCarney. They never got clearance from me or anyone.
So,
But fair play, didn't there?
right, here's the thing. You fucking know you were right to leave that job because there's unofficial burgers of you. You know what I mean? Like, there's the official McCarney burger, but you know you've made it whenever there's unofficial, unlicensed burgers with
Whenever
your
they're
name.
counterfeiting burgers, that's when you know you've made it.
Fuck, that's very, very
But yeah, I
enjoyable.
can't even wait. I can't even enjoy. Like, there's like even going to the getting just something lovely to eat now is impossible.
You know, I got takeaway from Nando's week before last. I don't know if you know this about me, but I kind of like a Nando. I mean, what's weird is I'm thought of as like a Nando's guy on the stand-up scene before a stand-up.
You're the first guy I ever seen with a Nando's black card.
I don't have the black card.
Do you not? You have a Nando's card?
Aye, but just like a loyalty type card.
I know nobody even having that.
And what's weird is we were using it in Centra.
I'd have a Centre Deli card.
You're right, it's not the same actually sitting in somewhere because to have a nice meal you need to be relaxed. It's about the atmosphere. And when I've been in only one or two places that serve food, and it's just weird. You keep saying to yourself like, this is odd. This is not right.
Even have you got the haircut yet?
Why does everybody ask me this?
Just nice.
The number one question people ask me when they see me is, when you booked in to get the haircut? I like my hair the way it is. I'm growing it like this.
Yeah, but you're always like a haircut connoisseur. You always took great pride in your hair, and I was just wondering, like it's quite short in the sides. I kind of thought, has he got it done?
Right, we have been cutting the hair in the house. Sometimes I do my own. Sometimes my wife cuts it. I've been doing my own back and sides, but my own sides, not the back. But what I'll say is this: I'm now getting to the stage where it's fight or flight. These bits are starting to come over the top of my ears, which I hate. Right?
Yeah.
So, do I just ride it out and grow my hair long and go past that, or do I?
That's nothing.
See, no, but that's great because you've gone past that point, and now you're at that point where it's all one.
I'm growing mine for video.
Right.
I need to look like Tom Hanks on the island, a well-fed Tom Hanks on the island.
Right.
What do you call it? What do you call the film?
Forrest Gump.
No,
I know.
the one
Castaway.
Castaway. So I need to look like a fat Tom Hanks. Fastaway.
Yep.
So I always wanted to try and grow a beard, and I thought now's the time to try it.
I can't.
But I'm quite disappointed with it.
I can't. I mean, there isn't many local comedians when you think about it that can grow a good beard. There are guys that have beards, but there's not good beards.
McKegney
has a good beard. McKegney definitely has a good beard.
He's probably the only.
Yeah, because a lot of guys try it. Like, Dave has a good beard. He'd be really annoyed if he say that. He does.
But his is nicely
groomed.
His is like a nice wee bush.
His is like Plan B, but black.
Eh?
His is like Plan B's, but black. You know, Dave's done Sharpie instead of Tipex.
Yeah.
But his is good. I don't know. Here's the thing. Should I just shave the back and sides and keep it long on top? I don't know what to do.
What do you usually get?
I usually get half back and sides, half all over, and then trim it on top. But like, look how long it is on top at the minute. So
I usually get the same, but I'm fed up. Last barbers I went to before, you're waiting for ages now.
but you're supposed to book in now, no? Appointment
No, well,
times?
like before lockdown.
Oh, yeah. But I
there was
think
like,
all barbers are going to go, well, most barbers are going to go appointments now.
yeah,
Because
I think
it
it's the
makes
only
so much
way.
sense. But I don't know. I like having something to do with it. And my wife hates this whenever I do this. And I
I
flop it.
see.
You know, just
You love
toss
that.
my
You
hair.
love doing that, didn't you?
Yeah, absolutely love it. And
Yeah.
I only wash my hair now once a week. So it's all about discovery at the end of the day.
And what conditioner do you use, Shane?
Pantene.
Pantene.
Yeah. I mean, you were
So I
expecting a
usually
funny
just,
response there, just straight in, no Pantene.
yeah, no, I usually just find whatever's sitting around, like Femme Fresh or something. Whatever's soapy just does the job.
Femme Fresh. Yeah, I'm gonna
Did you ever
let
read
you.
the back of Femme Fresh?
No, I mean it'd be quite. But does Femme Fresh remove your hair? Is it like Veet?
I'll leave you with that.
All right, I appreciate it. I'll have a wee bit of research to do on that and Die Hard 5 because I need to get to the bottom of this.
Yeah, Die Hard 5.
Because I'm supposed to have Bruce on the podcast next week, not over Zoom, actually in the studio. And if I find out he actually did film it in Chernobyl, it's not happening, Brucey baby. It's not happening.
They said it was Chernobyl, it was actually Strabane.
He filmed it in Strabane, and they're going to do another one there. And he's like, "Trust me, this time, let's go to Chernobyl to do it because I don't feel safe here."
In the extras, you can see Woodsy and Asda.
All right, Bruce, sir. Die hard, sir. All right, brother. Well, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to just put this blanket over me and just sit for a while, sit and mellow out. But
Nice.
but yeah, hopefully we're doing gigs of some sort in the next month or so. It's been good. It's been good to see you. And for anyone who hasn't, although a hell of a lot of people have, the video you did for Boyle Sports about the Bog Championships is 10 out of 10 funny. Very, very good. So go check that out. I would ask you if you had dates to plug or anything like that, but ain't no dates. Ain't no dates. But if you do have a relative inside and you need anything taken in, speak to my man here because he's got you covered.
I'll go have it.
Mark, cheers. Chat to you soon.
Good seeing you, man. See you again.
Bye.
Good luck. Bye.